Okay, so now let me just say a few words then about the challenge of the year and the TCRN. So the Translational Cancer Research Centres were set up by the Cancer Institute. There were originally 4, now there are soon to be 7. They're basically infrastructure programs that allow the Cancer Institute to move the 11 funding streams they had to these centres to administer and run. And they're things like PhD scholarships, top-ups, infrastructure. But one of the main things that the Cancer Institute wanted to see come about as a consequence of setting up these translational centres was the translation of what we know today into clinical practice. They call this implementation science. It's a sort of, I don't think really anyone knows what it is. Maybe a few people down here in this corner know what it is, but implementation science has all sorts of names for what they're trying to achieve here. The word translational science has become a bit hackneyed, so I think implementation science was used to adopt that, or to substitute for that name. But the bottom line is it's really around trying to understand and take what we know today, as I said, and get it into clinical practice. So we hold one of the translational centres here. It's administered through the University of New South Wales. It's really overseen by a governance committee which has representation from our hospital, from St George, from Border Healthcare who are involved, from general practice, from the university, across a broad group of disciplines. The Leadership Council meets 3 times a year and really governs what's going on. But much of what happens are basic infrastructure programs anyway, so they don't need a huge amount of oversight at a day-to-day level. So one of the things we decided to do here with our translational centre was this idea of a cancer challenge of the year, which is basically a program where we ask people to come up with one big problem that they see as facing cancer patients today that could be solved, or at least a significant inroads made into that problem by putting a concerted effort into that for 1 year. Now that sort of seems like a very short period of time to make a major change. So the problems need to be manageable and small, and the amount of energy and effort you need to be able to fix that problem also needs to be commensurate with the amount of dollars available to do that and the time frame over which that can happen. So Lena Caruso, our Translational Centre Manager, has written up a couple of points there about what's involved in the Cancer Challenge of the Year. The reason I'm speaking about this today is that every year we have applications for Challenge of the Year, and each year we try and make it easier for the applicants and also more focused on really the core mission of the Cancer Challenge of the Year. So with that in mind, this year we're going to have a number of workshops which are not compulsory for people who want to put forward a Challenge of the Year or start working one up. There's an information session on the 10th of February and then a workshop on the 10th of March to help people get their challenge sort of moulded into shape, and then an expression of interest for the 10th of April. The Cancer Challenges of the Year expressions of interest are all assessed externally, so we send them to one of our other partner hospitals, not in our TCRN, and they look at the challenges and the expressions of interest that have been put up and rate them and come back to us with what they see as the 3 top challenges. And it's only those 3 people that we ask to actually put in all the work to actually write up the proposal. That's the information there. The top 3 applicants, as I said, get an opportunity to write the long application. Half-day meeting workshop I've mentioned. They're their guidelines. I'm not going to read all of these things here. Lena can give you copies of these slides or show you where to find this information on the website. So the challenges of the year that were funded in the past, in 2013 we had screening for Lynch syndrome was funded using BRAF antibodies as opposed to molecular testing. That's actually happening across 5 hospitals. It's involving teams of pathologists, and they're working through this year to actually implement immunostaining for BRAF as opposed to molecular testing, which will help screen for Lynch syndrome. The second challenge of the year was for a genetics information system around ovarian cancer, and that's led by Kathy Tucker. So you'll see, as you saw on that preceding slide, we only have 2 or 3 shortlisted people who actually have to write the application, and if they are shortlisted, there's a pretty high chance that they're likely to be funded, provided that they provide a reasonable application. And then the first challenge of the year, which is the subject of today's topic, where we only had one that year, was about spaced education. And so at that point, I'm going to hand over to Vivian so we can hear the outcome now of the 2012 Challenge of the Year.